All right, we are on air. It is Thursday, June 16th. Happy Thursday, June 16th, everyone. um, a couple of quick announcements. Calabox, if you would like a local developed environment that has native backdrop support, you can install Calabox. You can get it at calabox.io. If you want to make a donation to Backdrop CMS, we will send you a thank you t-shirt or hoodie. Thank you t-shirts are mailed out for $25 donation, and hoodies are for $50 or more. We have a variety of sizes of hoodies. With t-shirts, we don't have any extra larges or extra larges left. But we are going to make a new order soon, so hopefully we'll be able to get everybody's size in stock. If you would like a free PHP Storm license and you're a member of the Backdrop Contrib group, you can send an email to info@backdropcms.org, and we can send you a link to get a license key. If you want PHP Storm and you're not yet a Contrib developer, we can also help you get through that process. You can fill out a Contrib application at GitHub. In the Backdrop Ops group, there is a project called Contrib. So if you're working on Backdrop, let us know. I don't think there are any updates from the PMC, unless anyone else has anything they want to say. Nope. Okay, so then we're going to turn the meeting over to Gregory to give us an update on community growth.
All right, community growth. We have 275 total projects for Backdrop CMS. There's only one new since the last meeting. We have 185 projects with official releases. There's no change since last meeting. Then there's 278 releases on backdropcms.org with 11 new since last meeting. 53 total Backdrop Contrib authors, and there's 13. One of them I think is May pending, just with things to do and approval. And then 23 organization profiles, which is 2 more than last meeting. And finally, we have 253 user accounts on backdropcms.org, which is 3 more since last meeting. And that's pretty much it.
Great. Nate, do you want to take over infrastructure task updates? We can't hear you. Nope. Still can't hear you.
Okay, how about now?
That's better.
Okay. Huh, funny. All right. So infrastructure, things around Backdrop, mostly things on GitHub and things on backdropcms.org that we have been working on to facilitate the project. So let's see, the first item on the agenda here is testing infrastructure. I don't think there's been any updates in the testing infrastructure since last week, but Gore, if there's anything you'd like to add, you can do so now. Nope. Okay. So so that means that currently we're still running both Travis CI and Zen CI at the moment. So when you file a pull request, you're going to get a whole heck of a lot of test results. Zen CI has actually been pretty stable. We do have one problem that we can't restart a test if it fails on Zen CI. The only thing we can do is close and then reopen the pull request, which can be a little frustrating for people that are actually filing the pull request because they don't have the ability to, well, no, they can close and reopen their own pull requests, so never mind. But it either has to be a maintainer or the original author in order to restart the tests. So let's see. We're still working on resolving random test failures. That's issue 1478. It would be even better if we didn't have to restart tests in the first place, if we could somehow resolve all of the random test failures, which for the most part have to do with timing, like tests running more slowly or more quickly than others, or sometimes random data being inserted that, or random data contains some character that causes some unexpected results. So it would be great to continue to resolve all those problems. We're definitely getting a lot fewer than we had been before, but they're still happening. So that's it for testing infrastructure. Not a whole lot changed in this past week. Next up, we've got Drush. It doesn't look like Jeff is with us this week. So the basic status on Drush is nothing real new here either. We have a Drush extension that you can use. That you just throw it into your home directory, where your home.drush directory, I should say, and then Drush 8 will work with Backdrop just as well as Drupal 7 and Drupal 8. We are in the process of building out all of the commands that you would expect for Drush, but all of the primary ones are covered at this point. So Drush updb, Drush SQL, whatever, Drush DL, all of those basic commands are working, but because of the differences between Drupal and Backdrop, we have to rewrite every command that we want in order Drush to work with for Backdrop. So it's coming along, and the primary thing that we need is people to be using it. Go out there and test, and if you come across any issues, log the issues against the Backdrop contrib project, which is at github.com/backdrop-contrib/drush. Okay, next up is the website. And Jen, you usually take the website.
All right. So we have a pull request from Gore that integrates single sign-on with GitHub. So I'm going to try that. Last week I got backdropcms.org upgraded to the latest version of Backdrop. Today I want to try out that pull request and see if that's ready to go onto our site or if we need a little more work done on it, but I will leave a comment shortly after this meeting. We're also working on a showcase section for people who've built sites with Backdrop to post about the work that they've done, and we can feature some of those and help new people who are trying to sell Backdrop sites see what's already out there. And so we have designs underway. We already have a node design for what the actual showcase node will look like, and we're working on a kind of a gallery design for the landing page as well. So hopefully that'll be pretty soon. We could use some help implementing if we want people to help us set up the content type and or the view and or the layout page for that. That would be great. And then we're also doing a bunch of work on the support section of our site. So trying to get the documentation done and organized. I got really distracted yesterday because I saw the great documentation that was created, and I'm like, I must read this right now. And then I didn't do any work for like an hour because I was so busy reading the documentation. So it's great. I'm so excited to have it up there. You guys have been doing a fantastic job on that, so good job. We've got a couple of follow-up issues on the documentation to try and make it a little more legible to people who are reading. But other than that, I think it's kind of good to go anytime. So as we keep working on it, we'll eventually decide there will be a cut over time, and we'll get that up. And then also in the support section, we want to set up our forums. And I think we've got a kind of a clear outline for what content we want to include, like which forums we want to set up initially, just so that we aren't bombarding people with too many options. And then now that all that's left is kind of the technical implementation details. I've got a local site set up that's running a whole bunch of different forum solutions that I'm going to give a shot. A couple on Drupal 7 because they don't exist for Backdrop yet, and then just kind of seeing what we can do in Backdrop without forum extensions and trying to figure out kind of the best of all worlds. Like, what do you want from a forum, and what do we get for free, and what do we have to build? So hopefully we'll get kind of a conclusion on that fairly soon, and we'll be able to move forward with actually building our forum. But I think if we can get that showcase section and the support section figured out, that'll make huge strides in terms of cleaning up our website. And we've got more about the website too that we'll talk about later in the outreach section of that line. But we also have a whole bunch of other parts of our website that still need some attention. We want to make the usage statistics visible on each project page. We want to improve the Find modules, Find themes, and Find layouts pages. We want to do a couple of follow-ups on the blog news announcement sections. The event listing, I think, is probably fine as is, but it would be good to add things like location filters so you can figure out what events are near you. And same thing with service providers, some kind of filters there so people can figure out how to find service providers with certain areas of expertise or people that are near their location as well. So a lot to do on the website. We definitely could use volunteers. Anyone who wants to work on it, let us know, and we'll get you up to date with all of the latest code base and database and all that. And with that, I want to turn it back over to Nate for the Backdrop project progress report.
Yeah, okay. So Backdrop 1.4.3 is the next bug fix release that we'll be pushing out. I think that that's going to be probably in this next week. Jen had filed an issue that our new Radix-based layouts, we had some class mismatching so that the fallback style sheets aren't working correctly, and that in particular affects older versions of IE or anything that doesn't support Flexbox. We'd like to get that fixed, and that would make it so that browsers that don't support Flexbox will fall back gracefully to a float-based layout system. So that still needs to be reviewed. It looks really pretty straightforward actually to get that fixed. So once that's fixed, and there's another issue, Jen, that I haven't run across yet that affects 1.4 as well, also related to layouts, correct?
Yeah, one of them was just a CSS name mismatch in the float fallback style sheet. And the other one was that we need to use the float fallback style sheet on Safari, even though it does support Flexbox, because it doesn't support Flexbox correctly.
Oh, well, that's nice. All right, so let's see here. I'll add this one here is the float issue. Okay, so that Safari issue, yeah, if you could send me a link or post that into the agenda, then I'll take a look at that. So nothing really exciting for 1.4.3. Yeah, just it should be out probably this next week. Oh, also related to minor and bug fix releases is that Drupal released a security update this past Wednesday. Some people may have noticed that, and we tweeted it yesterday, but I'll say it again for the people that watch the videos, that we were not affected by the security updates that came out yesterday for Drupal. So there was a Drupal 7 release and a Drupal 8 release, both fixing separate problems, but neither of those problems were in Backdrop. So it was coordinated as usual. It just so happened that the fixes that went out yesterday, we had already solved in one way or the other. So yeah, it's nice to have that happen where we don't have the same problems. Okay, let's see here. So 1.5 is the next minor release that will be coming out September 15th. We're calling it the Editorial Experience release. And we've got a number of major items that we'd like to get in for that release. The first of which we've got here on the agenda is issue 1301, adding a reference module to core. So references, we've got ports of user reference and node reference in Contrib, but we'd really like to have a unified reference module similar to entity reference module, but not with all the craziness that the entity module itself includes. So we have the new entity API that has been in Backdrop since 1.0 that should simplify the process of working with different types of entities without a whole lot of additional complexity. And so reference module is something that we're striving hard to get done for the next release. The issue, although it's issue 1301, we've moved the module into a Contrib repository, so it's now under github.com/backdropcontrib/reference. And if you use the module and would like to improve it, then you should just be filing pull requests against that contrib project, and then long term that will be the project that gets moved into core as well.
Yeah.
Mike also has
any feedback and stuff like that people might have.
What's that?
So open any feedback and stuff. I have a list of like things that I've done and going to do. So if anyone has just ideas about that, that would be helpful. Any issues, requests for functionality, just pretty much anything that anyone has opinions about, I'd be interested in here.
Yeah, and you made a great list of just in the README of the things that have yet to be done and what is working already. Yeah, great. Okay, so take a look at that. We would really appreciate collaboration moving forward on putting together a reference module. Let's see, next item on the agenda is a new front-end theme. That's issue 1361. Wes isn't in the meeting this week, so I'll give a short update. 1361 is the issue for the theme. It basically is completed. It almost went into the last release, but we pushed it back to 1.5. It's ready for review. But the one thing that's lacking, and what Wes is continuing to work on right now, is that he'd like it to be compatible with color modules, so that you can actually change the appearance of it. Right now it's just always this kind of dark blue, navy kind of thing going on. And after color module is completed, then you'd be able to change it, similar to the way you can change the Bartik theme today. But he's getting a little bit more elaborate in that he doesn't want it to just support color module, because when he was doing the integration, he found that color module was totally crazy, which is what everybody finds out when they interact with color module. So he's working on revamping the color module UI and some of its administrative or API abilities in issue 1905. I guess also related to that, there's 1949, which is a theme settings revamp, where we're trying to figure out ways to make configuring theme settings more friendly for all themes. Like, we've got a live preview right now for color module, but it's not really quite a live preview. It's more just like a faux preview, if you will. And the idea is that we can potentially actually show a real live preview of the site as theme settings are changed, so you can actually see how the appearance is affected as you change settings in your theme. And the nice thing, if that comes to completion, would be it would work for more things than just color module, because right now that's all that our preview is actually good for. Okay. Next item, we want to add a new homepage layout so that out of the box there's a layout at /front or /home. And right now it's mostly just adding a single column layout and placing a few blocks in it. But there are some sub-issues under that issue that we'd also like to include. Things like having a hero image or slider or something up at the top of that homepage layout would really help people, because almost all sites have such a thing. And so there's an issue for handling that at 1152. I don't think, there hasn't been any real new items in here, but we're open basically to all options as far as coming up with something that makes sense for a hero image. It's been floated that we might do something just as simple as making a custom block, which again, if we provide things that are there for people to edit, then they'll feel like they're, that lessens the learning curve, because there's already examples for them to work with. So if we did something like just made a custom block and just, typed an image tag in there, then that would let people know how to do, how to modify that particular thing. Okay, let's see, next item. Rich text editor, we're planning on making some general improvements. So the issue for that is 1087. There's a whole slew of items in there. of things that could be improved. There's also the list of things that we already have improved. And in particular, we've got one really nasty problem where images are being deleted when you upload them into non-entity items, which includes custom blocks. So I see that this one is blocked, and I know, Jeff, you've been working on it and are waiting for my review. I'll try to get to it this week. Oh, Jeff's not in the meeting today. Well, I'll try to get to it this week anyway, Jeff, if you watch this later. Issue 1373 needs some additional help figuring out how to solve that problem. That's it for the major items in 1.5. We also have a tag, or I'm sorry, a milestone in GitHub that you can find all of the things that are slated for 1.5. And you can just check those out by hitting up the Backdrop issue queue and then clicking on the 1.5 milestone. Let's see, user experience improvements and developer experience improvements. We're always trying to improve these items. I know one thing that we've got a lot of work put into but haven't seen pushed forward is the field UI revamp, where Wes has done a huge number of mock-ups on how we could potentially implement the field UI. And if you're interested in taking a stab at improving some UX in Backdrop, I would say that's one of the most important areas that we could improve, because it's still pretty rough. It's similar. It's slightly better than Drupal 7 in some places, but it's really mostly still the same. And we know from experience that that's one of the most difficult UIs in all of our software. Okay, next up on the agenda, we've got community outreach, which is a new section this week. It sounds like, Mike, you're going to be doing the recap?
Yes, we had a community outreach meeting. It was pretty much Jen and myself. Beth, I put the link to the notes in these notes. So you can go from one Google Doc to the other Google Doc if you're interested. Basically, we were, I'd say, saying where we are and where we're trying to go. Basically, just we need more focus on different audiences other than developers, because the current website is geared mostly for developers. You know, just with things like having you know, modules, themes, and layouts in, like, you know, the left navigation, where maybe that's not the highest priority for people who just want to know, like, what is Backdrop. So we had a couple of different things, like just maybe under Handbook, moving about Backdrop, the user guide and developer guide from under Handbook into just the main navigation, and then putting like putting modules, themes, and layouts behind like extensions or some other word that we can't think of, because apparently people don't like the word extensions or extend this or something. Yeah. Anything else, Jen, do you think?
No, I mean, we really were just working on talking about the website, but there are a bunch of other things we can do for outreach too. We just started on the website and ran out of time. Yeah.
Like, so I went and did a talk last week at the Portland Drupal users group, and that was good. What really went over well was the blog posts that had the animated GIFs of like the functionality of just like, I could just point like, oh, we have this thing, and here was the project browser. I just pulled up the project browser blog post and had like the animated GIF of how you do it, and it was very easy for people to see. So I really think that we need to have a section on the website that, if nothing else, lists all the features and has a little animated GIF like showing how they work. Would be really helpful for doing more outreach and actually being able to tell people like what Backdrop does and how well it does it. So, so I guess we're going to plan on continuing having these outreach meetings every other week. So in 2 weeks, we're going to have another one. We're going to, I guess, continue using the Backdrop CMS.org issue queue to discuss this stuff, even though I think that maybe we should have a separate issue queue just for outreach and outreach-related content stuff.
Or a not issue queue.
Or not issue queue. So that's like Jen's like anyone who does marketing or something like that's not going to be on GitHub. So we should probably provide some alternate way to track outreach tasks Not sure exactly what that is. Maybe we could build a separate backdrop site that, you know, has an issue queue or has a discussion thing that's for that you log in to see or something like that. But yeah, we could discuss that further going forwards. So, yep, that's about it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's great to mention also that we're starting the outreach meetings every other week. So next week will be the design meeting, and then the week after that will be the outreach meeting, and alternating back and forth. So we'll have 2 meetings back to back every Thursday, either the marketing or outreach, or sorry, outreach or design just before this one, and then this one will continue to happen every week. So. Yay, great. Let's see. Jen, could you round out the news and announcements section?
Sure. So we're supposed to have a blog post last Friday from Nate. Maybe you can do one today for tomorrow.
Yeah, I got the information I need. Jeff sent me a picture that we can use in the post to announce his presence. So I've got everything I need.
Okay, and then I know Andy said he was working on a blog post too. So when you're ready, Andy, let us review it. Maybe it can go up next week. Maybe it can go the week after. Whenever you think it's good enough. And anyone else who has any ideas for the blog, definitely let us know. Mike, I would love to see your managing CMI on Pantheon idea. I know you don't have a lot of time, but I'm about to launch the site on Pantheon, and I want to know if I'm doing it the same way you're doing it. So that would be good to get out there at some point too. And then we've got a newsletter coming up pretty soon. So as soon as we get these 2 layout-related issues resolved, we'll do a new release to push the release to Pantheon. And once the release is on Pantheon, we can send the newsletter to everyone, so they don't try to go to Pantheon to play with their backdrop site and aren't able to find the latest version. Let's see. Yeah, anyone who wants to help with marketing, as Mike mentioned, we currently have a tag in the Backdrop CMS.org issue queue that is maybe not the best place for it, but we will eventually figure out where those live. But right now, that's where all our marketing-related tasks are listed. It is Thursday. Every Thursday, we do a little backdrop sprint after this meeting. So if anyone wants to help us work on any of the things we identified today or anything you are personally very passionate about, we would love to get some help. We meet on GitHub in our issue queues, which is the main backdrop project is github.com/backdrop. It has its issue queue at backdrop-issues. The project is at backdrop itself. We chat on Gitter, gitter.im/backdrop-issues. All these links are on the, I think it's on the contribute page on backdropcms.org. We are going to get our support page up on that site too, and we'll move all of this information over there. We're also in IRC, if anyone is still in IRC, at #backdrop. We have a list of upcoming events on the backdropcms.org website at /events. Next up is next week, next Thursday, a week from today. Nate and I are actually going to be doing our second all-day backdrop training, third backdrop training ever, at Twin Cities Drupal Camp. So we won't be here for next week's meeting. We'll set it all up if somebody else wants to run the meeting. The agenda will be there. The event will be ready. So someone just has to kind of click start and it'll go. Since Wes has been trained on that, I'll ping him and see if he'll be around next week. But Nate and I will be training. So you'll have to have some fun without us. And then, let's see, we also have a couple of books coming out. Ooh, the new Beginning Backdrop book is going to be out next week. You can actually already buy it online if you want an online version. You can get it from Apress, but it should be in print on the 22nd. So that's super exciting. Anyone who wants to upgrade from Drupal can get the Migrating from Drupal to Backdrop book. It's just available now, both on Apress and Amazon. Is there anything anyone wanted to talk about today that was not on the official agenda?
How about Project B? You remember GIF has been started before we had a Drush working? He started a B project. You remember about that one?
I don't remember the B project. Do you want to give us an update or a reminder?
Yeah, sure. When we was working on Drush and Drush didn't work, it's a guy, GIF, his name, right? Who is working on a Drush extension for Backdraft. Yes, there is a link. So he did a basic like list and download project under Backdrop with a B project. He called it B project. And recently, I'm sorry for the background voice. So recently, I jumped in on this project, and I did plenty of work. So there is a pull request and my fork, where I'm working on, let's say, implementing similar to Drush structure, when we can easily port all Drush commands under the project and having the same functionality. I sent a few screenshots on a channel. It looks pretty good and pretty easy to port Drush extensions. So if anybody interested to join in, I'm welcome any work, and I don't know, give promises to check it out on a weekend. I don't know what he thinks about it yet. So that's it. Any questions?
No, I don't think so. It's just, yeah, it's interesting. I like the idea that, you know, if we start fresh, basically, we won't have to carry around the baggage of Drush, but we also don't have the consistency of Drush. I think it's great to have a command line tool in the works that isn't Drush as an alternative, because I think, like, for the world that we're in now, where we're trying to attract Drupal developers, having Drush is a real positive thing. But long-term complexity of Drush or the long-term maintenance of Drush, you know, it's nice to have an alternative.
Yeah, I agree. Drush, and unfortunately, Drush has a long story, and there is a lot of complexity inside. And when we was like doing support, like doing a Backdrop support for Drush, it was like pretty painful process. What I think also, because I built a structure very similar to Drush structure, but I just removed all baggage that had been for a while here. I made it in a way that I can wrap around a Drush functionality inside of the project. So it will be just picking up Drush extensions and process it a code inside of B without need to install Drush. That's my idea. We'll see how I will achieve it.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay. Anything else anybody would like to bring up? Okay. Well, it sounds like that's it then. We will be online in the GitHub issue queues after this meeting. So thanks again, everybody, for having joined the meeting, and everybody for watching. And we'll catch you next week.
Hi, everybody.
Bye, guys.